Good afternoon, baseball fans. How are we doing? Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, everyone? How are we doing? Bear with me. My voice is kind of shot from last night. I've been drinking all the water I can to try and get my voice back. And yeah, we had a long night last night. I'm doing the best I can over here. I don't know how I can even talk as much as I can right now. When I woke up today, I had no voice at all. And but here I am. I'm doing the best we can. So we got a lot to dive into. Let's just get to it. Everyone, hello. Hope everyone's having a good day. What do we got here in the chat? We got Ryan McDonald. We got Stephen Parks. Beezer Geezer, what's going on? Nikki, hello. Vance Kaufman, what's going on? Ben Myers, what's going on? How are we doing? El Prosecco, hello. E-Rock TV, Con Man, what's up? How are we doing? Matthew Clark, hello. Alrighty, so let's get into it here. Alrighty. Hopefully my voice can carry on for the next hour or so. But apologies, everyone. Bear with me as best as you can. So, but in the latest news, it's not looking too pretty. It's not looking too pretty right now. Last night, I mean, hey, we were here for about 6 hours last night, and it looked like a deal was going to happen. It looked like something was going to get done. There was momentum. There were guys going back and forth on both sides. It looked like something was going to get done. It looked very, very optimistic last night. But today, I don't know what happened. And you know what? I'm not surprised because sometimes when you walk away and sometimes when you step away, feelings can change. Thoughts can change. You know, yesterday I was using the analogy of going to a car dealership where usually, hey, they want to keep you in the building. You know, when you're buying a car, they don't want you to leave, right? Because they want to get a deal done. Because when you leave those doors, more chance a deal's not going to get done. So same thing I think probably happened last night. I think there were probably some things that weren't addressed last night and they weren't going to get addressed until today. So it just looked today when we woke up, when everything was getting started, it looked like there was just a different tone according to the reports. So if we were to actually go back, I mean, there's a lot of tweets from today. I don't know how far back we can go here, but oh boy, there's a lot of tweets. Again, everyone, I apologize with my voice. Yeah, it's just every year I get laryngitis, and it looks like this is the time. And of course, it's at one of the most important days of the entire year. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and go all this far back. There's just so many tweets. All right, hold on. Maybe we can get something here. All right, so we're going to take a look here. All right, so they started at around 11 o'clock. Ram Daddy, what's going on, my friend? How you doing? Welcome. If anyone is new, hit that subscribe button. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. So I remember when this morning, it's been a whirlwind of a day for me. It's just been so chaotic today. I'm just getting on now. This is the earliest I was able to get on. Where is the tweet that I was reading? Anyway, but a lot of the players, they were basically coming in today saying like, hey, we're still not close to a deal, blah, blah, blah. Alex Wood actually put something out a little earlier. And, I disagree with what he said a little bit because it's also, there's been a lot of bashing coming from both sides. So Hold on, let's take a look here. All right, you know what? I'm not going to dig. But basically, in the latest offer, basically it was Major League Baseball's best offer. So they gave their best offer on minimum salary. So in this offer, it starts at $700,000 and it goes up $10,000 each year, and then all the way to $740,000 in 2026. There was also a bonus pool. So Mark Fine saw it here, said MLB's offer includes nearly $500 million over the course of the CBA in additional compensation benefiting nearly 2/3 of MLB players. It's a 23% increase in minimum salary. I also did check with on this inflation calculator as well. Last year the minimum salary was $570,500, and so that this year would be $585,000. So that's definitely in line. That's in line with inflation. Taking a look here. And then there was the bonus pool. Here we go. So the bonus pool has $30 million. The minimum salary is at $700,000. The Major League Baseball, the big one last night was the expanded postseason. Major League Baseball, they really wanted to have 14 teams, and but the Players Association, they just said no, we're not doing the 14. So they both are looking like they're agreeing to 12 teams, and it looks like they're both agreeing on a draft lottery as well, where there's going to be 5 teams. What do we got here? I'm seeing everyone's saying passing. What's going on? Oh, wow. And there it is. The Major League Baseball Players Association agreed unanimously not to accept Major League Baseball's final proposal. There will be no deal on a new collective bargaining agreement before the 5 p.m. deadline. And so not even a counter. No counter at all. I mean, Major League Baseball, they said it was going to be their final offer. So I don't know if you counter it or whatever, but yeah, it's not good. I do feel like Major League Baseball, I feel like they came down. They came down on a lot of things. And, I don't know. It says here, Bob Nightingale, the players are unhappy, the fans are seething, and the sport is reeling. So I understand if we were to go back to the latest offer, and there's also some other things too. Teams would receive selections after the first round of the Rule 4 and international drafts for promoting top prospects to the opening day rosters. So that's another thing. That's another way to try and prevent service time manipulation. So I don't know how the players felt about that exactly, but says here, MLB would give a full year service time to players finishing first or second in Rookie of the Year voting. So it says here, Chris Bryant, he would have earned a full year of service time in 2015 under this plan. So I think that's pretty good. The pre-arbitration bonus pool, I think that's where they're falling short. a little bit. I do think the bonus pool needs to come up. I do. I do think 30 million is too low. I think it should be around 50 to 60. That's just the numbers that I put up. If I were to go show you, in the setup that I did, based off of Fangraphs WAR. Again, apologies everyone. I know my voice is just, it's just completely shot. But for Fangraph WAR, if you had a 7 WAR, you're at 2 million, and then every level of WAR you go down, it goes down by 25% for the bonus. So last year you would have had 1 player with a 7 WAR, 3 with a 6 WAR, 8 players with a 5 WAR, 16 players with a 4 WAR, 16 players with a 3 WAR, 25 players with a 2 WAR, 53 players with a 1 WAR, and 28 players with 0 to 1. So, and this is just my setup. This is not coming from anywhere. This is just what I put together. But I based the $2 million bonus off of something that Mark Feinstein reported a while back. So I basically based my numbers off of that. And then these are the totals that I came out with. For 150 players, you're looking at around a $77 million bonus pool. And for 100 players, you're looking at around $60 million. So I think it should be anywhere from 50 to 60. That's just my opinion. But I think 30 is too low. So I understand why the players don't want to accept that. I think that does need to come up. And I think there should be more bonuses for these young players. I think that's a big key. You need to be compensating these younger players. You know, Vlad Jr., all of these guys, Corbin Burns, Jonathan India, if they're performing well and they're in pre-arbitration, they need to be compensated more. No doubt about it. So bonus pool, I think, is too low. If we're to go back to another offer, I think the minimum salary is actually pretty good. I do like the minimum salary. I think 700,000 starting off is pretty good. So I'm not opposed to that compared to what it was last year. It was below 600,000 last year, and now you're starting at 700,000. I think that's a pretty good minimum salary to be complete. I mean, what do I know? But I think that's a healthy spot. So we're gonna take a look here. And also the CBT. It looks like they did not go up on the CBT. It says here from Bob Nightingale, MLB's last offer is in, and there are slight changes from their last proposal. No change in the CBT. I think the CBT should be 225, 230. I think that's fair. I think they are going a little low on that. So I think the CBT does need to come up. And I think the bonus pool needs to come up as well. I think the minimum salary is good. I think the playoff pool is good. I think I said for the draft lottery, I think I've been saying, top 5 picks for a while now. I think that makes a lot of sense. But yeah. So, yeah, I think MLB, they need to come up on some of these. They need to come up. Bonus pool is too low. And I'm not basing that off of, my opinion. I mean, maybe my opinion a little bit, but I did take the time and I put the numbers together, and I came out with, for the top 100 players, I came out to around $62 million. If you were to do the top 50, you're probably looking anywhere from, 40 to 50. So I think 30 million, I just think that's too low. I understand as well where the bonus pool is going to be a new thing. So no matter what the players get with the bonus pool, they are going to be gaining that much. So if they end up getting a $50 million bonus pool, they are gaining $50 million. So again, I think the bonus pool is too low. I think the minimum salary is good. I think the 12-team postseason is good. I think the 5-team draft lottery is good. So, you know, it's yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Now, but here's what I'm going to say, everyone. Here's what I'm going to say. It takes two. It takes two. The owners made concessions. The players have made concessions. In the end, they just couldn't quite get to that middle, and they're gonna have to break apart for a little bit, and they're gonna have to come back together at some point. I'm not gonna blame either side. Uh, Dave Collins, no, they did not. It was looking like they were going to last night, but that did not happen. So I'm not going to blame either side. I don't think either side is to blame. I think the owners, I think they started too low, and I think the players, they started too high. And I just think they came right around here. There wasn't that middle ground. Um, I don't like the bashing from the players. I don't think I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think it's productive. Um, I just don't think, I don't know, especially because there's been bashing of the owners as well. So like Alex Wood came out earlier and, he's saying, um, what did Alex Wood say? He said, for what it's worth, MLB has pumped to the media last night and today that there's momentum toward a deal. Now saying the player's tone has changed, so if a deal isn't done today, it's our fault. This isn't a coincidence. We've had the same tone all along. But then I want to hear from the owners too. It's that I read somewhere from one of these tweets that the the owner's tone was different and yada yada. Like it's always both. It's always both. But then, saying here, we've had the same tone all along. So if a deal isn't done today, it's our fault. And there was a lot of bashing of the owners. There was a lot of it. And hey, rightfully so. I'm not saying, they shouldn't, but, we got to kind of, try not to be hypocritical in some ways where there has been a lot of bashing, from reporters, onto the players or onto the owners, sorry, And so I don't know. I just can't really buy into just when a player is going on Twitter. To me, I think at the end of the day, I think it was just two sides are standing their ground and they couldn't figure out a way to make that last little bit. They couldn't find a way to push through that last little, the last few, yards. I think they were, both at like the 10 or 5 yard line and they just couldn't punch it in. And they are close. I mean, I don't think it's an all hope is lost kind of a thing. No, JS, I disagree. The owners have been making some concessions. I completely disagree. They have been making concessions. The players have made concessions as well. But at the end of the day, both sides, they got to figure it out, and they got to come back to the table and they got to figure it out. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening over the next week. I do think eventually they're going to get it done. I think eventually we'll probably maybe, if I were to make a guess, I don't know. We probably won't hear anything from these guys, for maybe around, I don't know, a couple weeks. They'll probably take a rest. They've been at it. They've been at it all week. And, so at this point, you might as well just take a step back and you got to reevaluate. So it's unfortunate, It's unfortunate. We had the 2020 COVID season. We had a fun season last year. And now, it's unfortunate that it came to this. So I think what has to end up getting done, I think what has to get done is the first thing I think they need to address is the CBT. I think the CBT they need to fix that first and foremost. So if we're to go find, there's just so many tweets. Where was the CBT? Again, everyone, apologies. My voice is just shot. 6-hour stream last night. I completely lost my voice. Yeah. So here's the CBT starting at 220. I think the owners made a mistake not increasing that. I think that was, if they had made an increase in here, I think that would have gone a long way. But the fact that they stayed at 220, instead of even just bumping it up a little bit, to 220 or to 225, sorry. I think it would have shown like, hey, we'll go up a little bit more on this, but they stayed at that. And I don't know. I don't know. I think that was a mistake. Go up another 5-10 million. 225, 230. I think that would have been a good CBT. And the pre-arbitration pool, my final offer, I mean, it's not my money, so what do I know? But my final offer would have been probably 225 for the CBT. I would have offered 50 million for the bonus pool, and that's it. 700,000 minimum salary, 12-team postseason. And the 5-team for the draft lottery. So, Jerry, I'm fine. I just lost my voice. So, yeah, man, lost my voice last night on the 6-hour stream. I all day I've been just drinking tea and just whatever, Gatorade, water, just trying to get my voice back. But Shelby Lynn, they're losing money. Yeah, it's unfortunate they couldn't just go those last few inches. So, and what can you do? What can you do? It's it's a sad day for baseball, says Jeff Passan. It is a sad day, especially when it looked like you had something last night. There was a lot of momentum last night. There really was. And we were up till, we were here until 2:30 in the morning, Says here, it turned out to be an easy decision for the player reps to unanimously reject MLB's best and final offer. So for the first time since 1995, regular season games will be canceled because of a work stoppage prompted by MLB's lockout. In the end, where I do, I know this is an easy one to do. If I were to assign some blame pie, I think Rob Manfred deserves some blame pie. I do. I think he failed at being able to bring these owners together and present something for the players. At the end of the day, Rob Manfred, this is not his fault. All of this is not his fault. You have to remember, it's 30 owners. Every single franchise has an owner. And you have to have at least 23 votes out of the 30. I think you can't blame Rob Manfred for all of this. But what I will blame him for is not being able to bring the owners together and to present a good enough offer. And I think Rob Manfred, he failed at that. And I think where Bud Selig in this spot, I think you would have seen Bud Selig. He would have gone a little extra, I think. Or I think he would have pushed for the owners to go a little extra. So I think that's the difference. I don't think Rob Manfred is the best communicator, I believe. When I watch him speak, he's very just he tries to talk by the book a lot. And I think where someone went like Bud Selig, he was a little more personable. Like he was better at bringing people together and to come up with and come up with a solution. But Rob Manfred has shown that he has not really been able to do that. And I think at the end of the day, this could have been a time for Rob Manfred to really, bring people together. And I think he failed. So, Jackson, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm good. But hey, man, we're just trying to push through. And we're just trying to just talk about what's going on here. So, well, Bob Nightingale, he was almost a legend. But it looks like the same old. Bob Nightingale, if he says one thing's going to happen, it doesn't happen. So, but, yeah, man. What I want everyone, though, to do is I don't want, hold on, let me get a little drink of water here. Remember, this is a business. It's two sides. You can't blame one side, right? I do think the owners, they should have come back with a better final offer. I do think that. I think their final offer was definitely, it was their best offer. Yeah, it was definitely their best offer. It just wasn't good enough. You should have gone up a little higher with the bonus pool, and you should have gone up higher with the CBT. I would have gone up higher with the CBT over the bonus pool. But I think where the owners made the mistake was not increasing the CBT. I think if they had gone up on the CBT a little bit, I think that would have, the players, they would have thought about it a little bit more. And so the owners, I definitely think they deserve a lot of blame. I do. But the players, what I don't like from the players is, well, they started, but it's negotiations, so I understand. They started very high with a lot of their offers, right? The bonus pool was at 115 million. And just today, they brought it below 100 million. I just think that's too high. I think their final bonus pool offer was 85 million. That's too high. It's too high. And I think that's where the players' side, I think that's where they need to come down. And I think just they need to get off Twitter, stop tweeting. I understand, yes, you have a voice, but what is it going to do? It's not going to change anything. So Alex Wood coming on here and tweeting is not going to fix anything. It's just going to make people more angry, and it's just going to make people more emotional. And that's not what this needs to be. It needs to be unemotional. At the end of the day, business is business. You need to leave the emotion out of it. And in the end, they just couldn't come to an agreement. And that's really all it is. It's nothing more. It's nothing less. I think people need to just temper the emotion a little bit. Baseball will be back. It'll be back eventually. They'll figure this out down the road, and they'll come to an agreement at some point. Yeah, it sucks, because this time of the year, it's, spring training. It's always the best time of the year. And opening day is, besides Christmas, is my favorite day of the year. So yeah, it sucks. But, and I think at Major League Baseball, I think they're going to feel this, for a little while. So Rob Manfred will be speaking at 5. Clint Frazier. I think it might be time to apply for that McDonald's job. Everybody said I'd be working. Oh, man. I'm glad Clint Frazier can keep a good sense of humor. Oh. Yeah, 5 p.m. press conference for Rob Manfred. Bob Nightingale says, it's unknown when negotiations will resume, but the two sides are leaving Florida tomorrow with no meetings scheduled. Spring training games are canceled until further notice, with games likely wiped out for most of March. My prediction is we'll see opening day, probably May or June. I think so. I think May. I think the first month you could miss. Get this done, have a spring training in April, and then get the season started in May. I think take this month. They're probably going to take, a week or two to kind of reevaluate, and then hopefully they can just get it done. And they'll have a couple more weeks before April, and hopefully they can get it done then. So, Jason Fire, man. Can't believe I'm saying this, but thank God for basketball. Hey, it might be time to, see what's going on in basketball. Grivity, where will Manfred's press conference be? What channel? I'm guessing MLB Network will show it. I'm guessing ESPN will show it. So, yeah, Kyle Strange, I agree. Alex Wood is just being used for propaganda. Yeah, I agree. But the owners do the same thing. So it's, Yeah, Jackson, it looks like it's 100% done. Yeah, Mighty Command, I see what you're saying here. Imagine ever siding with capital over labor. I'm not siding with capital. I'm just looking at the end of the day, Major League Baseball, they provide the platform for the players. And, so they're a big part, obviously, of what goes on. I think their last offer was a little weak. So, but yeah. Alejandro Dreezy, that's a bad take. Wood is using his platform to get fans on the players' side, put more pressure on the owners. Yeah, I just don't think it's very effective. I think it's just because at the end of the day, the owners, they're not going to care. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's good to use your voice, but it's not going to do anything. The owners, they're not going to care until they start losing money. So I'm not saying Alex Wood can go and tweet. He can go tweet whatever he wants. I don't care. Use your voice. Talk. So I just don't think it's going to be effective, is what I'm saying. Adam Clare, I disagree. I don't think it's siding with capital. I think the players deserve a lot of compensation. Jeez, just cracked my voice. I think the players deserve a lot of compensation. I think especially the young players do. They're the ones that have been the best players in the game. I think the bonus pool should have been higher. And I think the minimum salary needs to come up. And at the end of the day, where I'm at, I think the owners, their last offer, I thought it was weak. I think it was weak. But I think just to take one side, I'm not going to take one side, and nothing will ever change my mind. I will never take one side. Unless, it's like in a criminal case, where they can prove someone is obviously at fault for something. Then yes, I will take a side at that point. But there's always two sides. Always. Derek A, not good. Not good. But Adam Clare, MLB provides the platform because they do. The players at the end of the day, you can not agree with that if you want, but at the end of the day, the players can go start their own league. And you cannot like that if you want, and you don't have to agree with it, but that's what it is. If they want to go start their own league, they can. Do I think it's fair No, I don't think it's fair. But that's what it is. The owners, they put the investments in. They made the initial investments on the franchise. They're the ones that run the whole thing. And that's what it is. That's life. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. But that's what it is. And if the players don't like it, they can get up and go start their own league. I don't mean to say that in an inflammatory way. It's just what it is. So, what else are we saying here? Justin Lamas, your team's owner will still make a ton of money with Liverpool. I mean, good on him. You know, he made that investment. You know, he made the investment with Liverpool when they weren't very good. And, you know. Shelby Lynn. Sorry, what was your question? I don't see your question. Shelby, type in your question again. Do you really think they need more money? Who? More than do I think the owners do? I mean, I don't know. Probably at this point, probably not. But you know, that's just business. I don't know. Oh, the players. I mean, I think the players. I think they should just get compensated. You know, especially the younger players. You know, someone like Corbin Burns last year. This guy made, you know, just how much did he make last year? I think he made like 650,000 or not more than 700,000 last year, but he was the Cy Young. And, you know, and you got guys that are making tons more money than him. You know, I think Corbin Burns should be compensated for that. So, Logan Jones, you said baseball died today. It'll come back. It'll come back. Once we see that it's opening day, once they give the go-ahead, we'll be happy. Once the season gets going, I think we'll be okay. But now I think we will be okay. Now the question is, what's the long-term outlook? You know? And that's where the owners, they shot themselves in the foot. They did. They really shot themselves in the foot. You should have given more of a bonus pool. You should have increased that CBT. And, you know, if you just gave a little bit more, was it really going to hurt the future of the game? Green Nexus, let's be realistic. Baseball is not going to be on until at least June. The owners probably won't meet for another month. This has been handled very poorly, and we deserve better. I agree. I think they left it all until the last week. And in the end, what I just think at the end of the day, Rob Manfred it's not his fault, but he just has not done a good job at getting people to come together. And we'll see what he has to say in about 10 minutes. But, you know, yeah, Manny Aguiar, it's yes, we're still going to be here. The people that are here in the chat right now, we're still going to be here. The problem that I have or the worry that I have are the future fans, you know? I don't know. The future of the game, it's, you know, was $20 million, you know, was that really going to ruin the future of the game? You know, just by not giving that extra $20 million for a bonus pool, was that really going to affect your long-term, you know, your long-term plan? I mean, it's not my money, so who am I to talk? But yeah, WYD Cole, I agree. Someone like Pete Alonso, they need to be getting paid more. Keith Califf, yep, rejected the latest offer. Yeah, Colin Croft, I agree. Justin Lamas, they're fighting over $250 million in an $11 billion industry. It's like fighting over a quarter. Yeah. I think it's more, I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's really fully about the money. I think it's about just their footing, I think it's about, it's a power struggle. That's really what it is. I don't think, because really, is increasing the CBT by $5-10 million really that big of a deal? No, it's not. Is giving an extra $20 million for a bonus pool really that big of a deal? No, I think it's more. It's a power struggle. I think the owners, they don't want to give the players too much, and because they're probably thinking, okay, well, if we're going to keep making these, and I'm not talking for the owners, I'm just kind of maybe thinking what they're thinking. They're probably thinking, well, when is it going to stop? If we give this, well, then what are they going to ask for next time? So they're probably wanting to pull back as much as they can. So, and that's another good point. Jack Cohen in the chat. It's the small market teams. I guarantee you the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs, guarantee they're like, all right, yeah, just get a deal done. But it's these small market teams, the Cleveland Guardians, the Oakland A's, the Kansas City Royals, the Miami Marlins. It's these small market teams that I think are holding back an agreement. You remember, you need 23 owners so to agree on a deal. So those, I guarantee you, they probably had around, 19 or 20 votes. So, it's these small market owners that where they're just not bringing in a lot of money or not more than all these other teams. And they're not budging. I guarantee you the Red Sox and the Yankees are like, okay. All right, here we go. So we got the podium up, got the backdrop, we got the got the little we got the podium. I wonder if there's a way. I would love to show it, but I'd probably get copyright. Where's my remote? How many people we got in the chat here? Got 250 people. Everyone, I appreciate for stopping by. I appreciate for sticking around. My voice sounds awful. I lost my voice. If you are just coming in, I was on here for 6 hours last night, and my voice is completely shot. Oh, Logan Jones, $5 super chat. Should Rob Manfred and his group be fired by the lack of his job for the last 5 years? I don't think Rob Manfred, it's really easy to hate on Rob Manfred. And I really do try to find the good, in things. I really do. I can definitely, be negative, and I can definitely complain. But I really do try to find the positive in things. But man, with Rob Manfred, I don't think he's the guy. I just don't. To me, he's not someone that is just, I've said it a few times now. I don't think he's someone that is going to bring people together. I just think he doesn't communicate well. Yeah, Principal McVicker. Yeah, like I don't blame him for this. Like it's not his fault. I just don't think he's done a great job, you know? So yeah, Colin Croft, yeah, I really do think at the end of the day, it comes down to the small market teams. Like I said, do you think the Dodgers really care if, there's an extra 10, 20 million in a bonus pool? No. It's the Miami Marlins, that care, when, they're trying to get as much money as they can. So, yeah, Frank C. I agree. I think we need someone a little bit more like Bud Selig. I think to me, Bud Selig definitely had his downfalls. He was not perfect by any means. But I think with Bud Selig, I think his presence was comforting. I think there was just a different vibe about Bud Selig. Whenever he spoke, when he spoke to the media, he seemed like someone that was, he could hear out both sides and he could bring more people together. But with Rob Manfred, he just kind of just talks from the book, and in a way I can understand why he's like that because I can understand his personality. The guy was a lawyer, and he has been a part of a lot of labor negotiations in the past. But I just don't think he is. To me, he's not. I mean, I don't know. It's not fair for me to give my opinion because I've never actually, worked for Rob Manfred, so I can't really give you my opinion. But I just don't see someone that is a leader. I see someone that he's kind of just there, like I don't know. Like it's basically like he's just filling in the spot. Like there's not like, what's the word? He's just not, I don't know. He's just there. That's like the best thing to say. If that makes any sense, I don't know if I'm making sense. He just doesn't give me anything. Like he doesn't make me feel better when I listen to him. I'm not saying like, he needs to say all these nice things and whatever, but like he doesn't make me confident as a fan. Like he makes me, I don't know. There's a lot of times where just when he speaks, I just don't get a good vibe from him. So, yeah, DeAndre Anderson, yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, he's there to take the blame. Where Bud Selig was in that role too, but Bud Selig had more of like a presence to him, where he could sit the owners down and be like, hey, listen, I'm on your side, but, I'm with you guys here, but you guys you're being stupid right now. You got to figure this out, I don't think Rob Manfred is really doing that. I think he's just kind of like, okay, all right, what do you guys think? All right, this is what we think, Rob. Okay, I'll go bring it back to the players. Like, I just don't think he's where Bud Selig, I feel like he would be like, come on. The players, they're not going to like this. They're not going to like this offer. I think we should probably, get this offer a little bit better. I think that was the difference. Rob Manfred is just kind of a talking head where he doesn't really provide any leadership qualities, but I just don't think he's a leader. I just don't see it. Yeah, and DeAndre Henderson, that's a really good point. Bud Selig was an owner before. And again, Bud Selig was not perfect by any means. He was not perfect. He had his issues. But I don't know. You just felt better. It's really easy to hate the commissioner. It really is. I mean, look at Roger Goodell in football. People can't stand the guy. You know, as a Patriots fan, I cannot stand Roger Goodell. I think the guy is. I just don't like him. You know, because the way he handled the whole Patriot thing, the Deflategate thing, I thought that was ridiculous. You know, the lack of suspensions for, you know, domestic abuse and stuff like that. I think Roger Goodell, I don't know, business wise, sounds like he's been bringing in the revenue, but yes, I think revenue is good. Obviously, you want your business to grow. Who doesn't want their business to grow? But I mean, we got to be kind of factoring in the human factor as well. You know, you got to kind of let up on some things sometimes. You know, it's funny. I'm seeing a few of you saying Adam Silver. I have not heard Adam Silver talk at all. Like, I have not heard him talk in a long time. I mean, in a long time. Jared, Passon's on ESPN. Manfred's in a couple minutes. Is there, I wonder if there's a link. If anything, I won't be able to play it on here because I don't want to get hit with any copyright. But I can probably play it on my phone. Let me see. Where's my remote? Hold on one second. Let's see here. Let's see. 270 people in the chat. What's going on, everyone? How are we doing? If anyone is new, consider hitting that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 18,000 subscribers. We got a lot of new subscribers yesterday, so I want to thank all the new subscribers that joined. Wow, we got like over 300 subscribers last night. That was awesome. So everyone, if you can, hit that like button for me. Let's see if I can... I just saw someone made a comment about the owners saying they want to kill their own product. All righty, here we go. I have ESPN, right? I don't think I have ESPN. Where is ESPN? Randy, what's going on, my friend? Thank you for subscribing. I promise, any new subscribers, my voice is usually not like this. It's quite bad today. I don't think I have ESPN. Wow, I don't have ESPN. Huh. Okay. How am I going to watch this stream? Can anyone send me a link? Is there a link to this? I would like to watch this. I do not have ESPN. Why do I not have ESPN? That's crazy. Sam ZG. I mean, I'm not a fan of ESPN, but let me see if I can pull up a a stream here. I guess we can. I don't know. I don't want to get hit with copyright. I can just put on. Hold on. Here we go. Let's see. I can put up the. I'll share the screen. Well, like I won't put it on exactly because I just don't want to get hit with any copyright. Let's see here. Computer screen. Let's see if that ends up working. Oh, here we go. Whatever. Can you all hear that? Can you all hear that? Odd villain. Yes, my voice is canceled. Can everyone hear the can everyone hear Rob Manfred talking? Well, like not right now, but can you like Oh no, wonder why it's not. Audio output. Well, my audio's there. I'll just turn it up from here.
The players came here for 9 days. They worked hard. They tried to make a deal, and I appreciate their effort. Our committee of club representatives committed to the process. They offered compromise after compromise and hung in past the deadline to make sure that we exhausted every possibility of reaching an agreement before the cancellation of games. So far, the parties have failed to achieve their mutual goal of reaching an agreement. The unfortunate thing, maybe the most unfortunate thing, is that agreement, the one we've offered to our players, offered huge benefits for our fans and for our players. We have listened to the Players Association throughout the process. A primary goal of the Players Association has been to increase pay for younger players. I said in Orlando, and I'll say it again, we agree and share that goal. We offered to raise the minimum salary to $700,000, an increase of $130,000 from last year. We offered to create an annual bonus pool of $30 million for our very best young players, to encourage clubs to promote top prospects on opening day. We also proposed that the first and second place finishers in Rookie of the Year voting in each league would receive a full year of service no matter how long they were in the major leagues. The MLBPA asked us to make free agency more robust. For the first time ever, we agreed to eliminate draft pick compensation, a change that the MLBPA has sought for decades. On the competitive balance tax, we offered a significantly larger first-year increase than in the last two agreements, bearing in mind that the competitive balance tax is the only mechanism in our agreement that protects some semblance of a level playing field among the clubs. The international draft would have more fairly allocated talent among the clubs and reduced abuses in some international markets. We also listened to our fans. The expanded playoffs would bring the excitement of meaningful September baseball and postseason baseball to fans in more markets. While we preferred the 14-team format, when the format became a significant obstacle, we listened to the players' concerns and offered a compromise by accepting the 12-team format. Finally, we offered a procedural agreement that would allow for the timely implementation of sorely needed rules like the pitch timer and the elimination of shifts to improve the entertainment value of the game on the field. And we agreed to the universal DH. So what's next? The calendar dictates that we're not going to be able to play the first 2 series of the regular season, and those games are officially canceled. We're prepared to continue negotiations. We've been informed that the MLBPA is headed back to New York, meaning that no agreement is possible until at least Thursday. As such, camps could not meaningfully operate until at least March 8th, leaving only 23 days before the scheduled opening day. The clubs and our owners fully understand just how important it is to our millions of fans that we get the game on the field as soon as possible. To that end, we want a bargain and we want an agreement with the Players Association as quickly as possible. You gonna do them or am I? Okay, Hannah. Well, you only get one. We never used the phrase last best and final offer with the union. We said to them that it was our best offer prior to the deadline to cancel games. Our negotiations are deadlocked right now, but I'm not going to get into, that's different than using the legal term impasse, and I'm not going to do that.
If it's not your last best and final offer, why would they have accepted it? If they knew they could get something better rate?
Yeah, look, I think that take it or leave it in a negotiation is not something that I think is usually productive. I think always at the end, there's a little wiggle room somewhere, and I think that we'd like to keep the idea that we're willing to go back to the table and figure out whether we can make an agreement.
Okay, no, so basically he's just, for anyone that needs to know, he's basically just saying we don't want to give up any more leverage. That's basically what he just said.
Ron, the only thing I can say is that from the perspective of the Commissioner's Office and the clubs, we are doing our very, very best to try to reach an agreement. Unfortunately, it's not something that's solely within our control. It takes 2 parties to reach an agreement, and we will continue to be committed to that process. All I can say, nothing's scheduled right now. And we made a proposal this afternoon. I believe, without exception, every topic, we have made the last proposal. Every single issue in the basic agreement, we have made the last proposal. You draw your own conclusion as to who ought to go next.
When you guys are, weighing these offers with the owners and talking things through, how much of it all do you weigh the financial impact on people who aren't in the room, the workers at the stadiums who get affected, and obviously the fans?
Yeah, look, I think that the concern about our fans is at the very top of our consideration list, followed closely by places like where we're standing, where people's livelihood depends on baseball, spring training baseball, and certainly an important part of the calculus for us and for our owners.
Hey James. Hey Rob. Could you explain the league's position on why you say cancellation of games and why not say reschedule or at least make the hope to still fit the full season in?
Yeah, we have a first-time situation in terms of the loss of regular season games. We've never, since we've gone to interleague play every day, we've never canceled games. So if you think about the way that the schedule works, every single day you have an interleague series where those teams are not back together enough to make rescheduling feasible.
So do you think the pay, I guess full pay and service time will I guess now be something you have to negotiate with the union and players?
Yeah, I think that our position is that games that are not played, players will not get paid for.
obviously there were some good things in the deal for the players, including over a 20% rise for the minimum players, the minimum paid players. However, the CBT, you know, how do you explain? It was 200.
Yeah, I want to I want to hear this.
You're raising it to 220 million. That's less than a 5% rise, and then it's repeated the next subsequent years at $220 million. So it's basically only a 5% rise over 3 years. You know, they would tell you that inflation is up 7% now. Their salaries have stagnated, and you know, obviously they wouldn't like that part of the deal.
Look,
How do you explain that?
Well, I think that it's important to look at the pattern of increases in the CBT thresholds over the last several agreements, and I think the proposal that we made is right in line with the type of increases we've seen in the past. I think you also need to remember that the last 5 years been very difficult years from a revenue perspective for the industry given the pandemic. So, you know, this is, and last, look, we have a payroll disparity problem. And to weaken the only mechanism in the agreement that's designed to promote some semblance of competitive balance is just something that I don't think the club group is prepared to do right now. Look, I didn't take, I know where the clubs are. I know they are 100% behind the proposal that was made and the decision to cancel games given where we are in the negotiation. Hey, Bob.
It was basically just like a non-answer. Like he basically just said, the small market teams, he basically just said the CBT is because of the small market teams. You know, it wasn't really. Rob Manfred is very good at giving you an answer without actually fully answering the question.
Look, we're in a process of, we went through a really long 9 or 10 days. We had a really late night last night and not a particularly productive day today. We need to regroup and figure out how we're going to move the process forward. That's the best I can do for you.
Hey, Rob, understanding that deadlines create urgency, you locked out the players to jumpstart the negotiations. It feels like real bargaining went on just in the last 24 to 36 hours. I'm sure people are wondering why not over the last three months or even longer to get to a point where you're not necessarily canceling games because there's some momentum.
Yeah, I think the best answer to that question is the last 10 days. We've been here, ready to bargain, full committees, owners, players for 10 days, and it got going 2 days before the deadline. That's the best explanation I can give you.
But like, why did you have to wait 10 days? You know, why couldn't these guys be here 2 weeks ago? Why did it have to be this week? Why couldn't it be 2-3 weeks ago?
Rob, is the sport in a more perilous position now than it was 94, 95 because of the number of entertainment options that are out there, how easy it is for people to turn to a Netflix or anything on their cell phone?
Yeah, the entertainment market today is different than 1994. My deepest hope is that we get an agreement quickly, we're back on the field, and we get back into that market and compete effectively.
Rob, you've said many times you see yourself as a deal maker. You take pride in the previous agreements you've made. So how much do you see this outcome as reflecting on you as commissioner now?
Look, the difficult thing about this, if it was solely within my ability or the ability of the clubs to get an agreement, we'd have an agreement. The tough thing about this process is it takes both parties to make an agreement. I'm really disappointed that we didn't make an agreement, and I'm really committed to doing everything possible to get one.
So this is where I'm going to call a little hypocrisy. I'm Rob Manfred. A couple of weeks ago, he was, I don't know if I call it bragging, but he was making comments saying, hey, I've been involved in these negotiations before. I'm confident in my ability for us to make negotiations. You know what he should have just said right here? You know what would have been the best answer? You know what would have been the best answer? And usually you don't see people do it, but what he should have said was, you know what? I failed. I messed up. I didn't do a good enough job. I should have done better. I didn't do enough to get these two sides together. That's what he should have just said. He should have just said that. Because a few weeks ago, a month ago, I don't remember when it was, but he sat down and he said, hey, I was involved with 1994. I've gotten these negotiations done before. And then he basically just said, hey, it takes two sides, which I agree. It does take two sides. Of course it does. That's common sense. But you just said like a month ago, Rob, you just said like how because of your experience in negotiations in the past, that you've gotten deals done. And now you're saying, oh, well, it takes two sides and, I have the owners and blah, blah, blah. The best answer, if you want people to start listening to you, you need to start being more accountable. You should have just said, yeah, I failed.
You've been so kind, it's sorry to see you go. Really gonna miss you.
Always mutual. You could argue that this is not a surprise when you look at the developments of the past 5 years. Really, since shortly after that 2016 CBA, there's been a lot of chatter on their side. I'm wondering if you regret having done, understanding it takes both sides, regret not having done more on your side to try to avoid this disastrous outcome.
Yeah, look, what I would say, Ken, is, we did take a stab at some early negotiations. Throughout the 5-year period, there was a lot of rhetoric about dissatisfaction with the deal that they made. A lot of the rhetoric was negative with respect to clubs, the commissioner's office, me. That environment someone else created. And it's an environment in which it's tough to build bridges.
Oh, and that's it. And that is it. So, but there we go, everyone. There we go. That's pretty much what we got. I think Rob Manfred, again, it's not his fault. It's not on him. I don't think he did a good job at getting everyone on the same page. To me, Rob Manfred, he doesn't come off as a leader to me. And what do I know? I mean, I'm just a dope sitting at my desk, in my apartment. What do I know? But I've had many good, working at schools. I've worked under some good principals, and I don't know. I know a good leader, and I feel like with Rob Manfred, he's just a lot of words. And, that was a perfect example right there. He's basically just saying, yeah, in the past, I've gotten these deals done before. And then someone asks, like, how do you think this makes you look as the commissioner now? How does this affect your legacy? And he's basically just saying, oh, well, it takes two sides, which I agree with you. But you weren't saying that a month ago. You were saying, you were the right guy for these kind of circumstances. And now it's a completely different tune. So when you fail, you make excuses. What he said is not wrong. But at the end of the day, it's just going to come off as an excuse. And where he should have just said, and he won't because he's the commissioner, he's the man that holds the keys, he's in a power position. He's not going to say it, but he should have just said, I messed up. He should have taken it, and I think, I don't know. I think people would have maybe respected him a little bit more. Probably not, but he would have had more of a chance of getting some respect if he had just taken some blame. So that's what can you do? Again, I'm not going to say it's his fault. I definitely think he deserves a lot of it. At the end of the day, I think the biggest fault goes to, if I were to assign some blame pie, I think the owners, they started too low. I think the players, they started way too high. The owners started way too low. Rob Manfred didn't bring people together. The small market teams were being just very stubborn. I just don't think there was a good system in place for everyone to come together. There's just not a good relationship between these two sides, and that needs to improve. So at the end of the day, it's not one person, it's not one side, it's everyone. But I do think the owners, I think they came up short. I think they did make concessions. The players made concessions, but in the end, the owner's final offer before the deadline was weak. The CBT was weak. The minimum salary was good. The bonus pool was weak. So that's what I think. I think the owners, they came up short here. I think the players, they did give up a lot. I do think they were coming from a pretty high place because of how they felt about the last CBT. So I understand why their asks were really high. I get that. Maybe if they started a little bit lower, we could have maybe gotten somewhere. Maybe if the owners started a little bit higher, we could have gotten somewhere. But, at the end of the day, what can you do? What can you do? I mean, baseball will be back. Who knows? Maybe they start negotiating again next week, and maybe we end up only missing, 10, 20 games, see around like 140 game season. At this point, I think that's the best case scenario. I think 150, 140 games is the best case scenario. Best case scenario is get something done by next weekend. If they can come back together. Worst case scenario, it ends up being under 100 games, 90 to 100 games. I don't see a season being lost because they are pretty close. They are pretty close on things. They're just going to have to get back to the drawing board. And so, but everyone, I want to thank you for coming out, for content on the channel. Hey, don't be going anywhere. I'm still going to be pumping out content. Still going to be, posting the stuff that I usually like to post. We'll still talk rumors. Yeah, we're not going anywhere on this channel. I'm going to be finding a way to talk baseball as much as I can. I appreciate you for coming in today. My voice is completely terrible. Hopefully it's going to get better over the next couple of days. So we'll see. But, hey, I definitely need to get off of here. My voice is in dire need of not being used. So, everyone, thank you for spending all that time with me last night, 6 hours last night until 2:30 in the morning. Really appreciate that. Thank you for coming out today. If you can, hit the like button on your way out. If anyone's new, hit that subscribe button for me. But definitely be on the lookout. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to keep pumping out the content here on this channel. So, everyone, have yourself a good day, and I'll talk to you next time.